So, strange days. I realized that everything was a dream that I was living. It was not what I thought it was. As I said, everything was different. Everything was different. And we'll get into all of that. Let's see here. The new me. There's supposed to be a picture there. But imagine this is there. We'll imagine this picture's there. A different picture's up there usually, but we'll put the book cover up there. The new me. The new me is quite different. I will tell you that. How I got here was well, it was trying. It was tough. It was rough. Like I said, all of the trauma. You have to shine the light on that to expose it. And then you have to breathe through it, is what I learned. And that's why some of these breathing techniques I'm going to teach you at the end are great for anxiety, depression, getting angry, if you just want to just calm down for the moment. Or just sit and be and acknowledge that the moment's right here. So these are good tools or techniques that you can use at any time. Anytime. But the new me. Throughout my esketamine therapy, I found that I no longer hear the voices. They have evaded me, along with the horrific apparitions that visually haunted my entire life. They have left. They are gone. This is incredibly inconceivable to me and baffles my every moment. After a lifetime of suffering and alienation, they are gone. There is an awkward void where they once occupied. All of my senses have become intensely heightened, as though they had layers of veils shed one by one, bringing me further within the presence of each moment. There is such a spacious openness within my being. I feel buoyant and free. Free from my life's own fires. Throughout this esketamine treatment, I have felt and have consciously allowed the depression and incredible anxiety to lift from my being and drift away as separate beings other than myself. For so long I thought, and I was told or influenced, that these sensations were a part of me. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, just a moment ago. Part of me, discoveries found through the revelations during treatments, I realized that they are parasites. Depression and anxiety, parasites, leeching this life from me. This insight was a game changer. Depression and anxiety are separate entities from me. Out of fear, I have entertained, I have kept companion with what I have allowed to captivate me with its devastating talons. I no longer need to court my fears and anxieties. Depression and anxiety, they are separate from me. They are not who I am. Now that I realize that they have never been a part of me, my true essence, there are so many things that have become much clearer. These afflictions of mine had wrapped their deceptive roots around my mind and burrowed deep into the core of my awaking and sleeping soul. The depression, the anxiety, the voices, the demons, if you will, such agony, such pain. Throughout the passing of each esketamine session, I felt the depression, the anxiety, bubble up and ascend from my energetic body, floating above and then passing through and away from me. This was an incredible sensation. I will tell you that, and I'll go into that in just a minute when I finish reading this, because it's worth going into. I bask in the sensation of the heaviness I have always carried, transforming it into light weightlessness, eliminating my burdens, my depression and anxiety. They all lift from me. Each treatment, I went in with the conscious breathing exercises and conscious intentions on discovering how to heal from the last session's traumatic revelations. Okay. So, thinking back on that, it's so different now. I don't know how to explain it. The esketamine therapies, when I was going through them, I would sit down, I would have my Bluetooth speaker, I would have music playing. It was no music with words because that tends to snag you and it can affect how you feel or what you think or where you go. So I found that music, instrumental music, is wonderful. It has texture, colors. Now, you're not tripping when you go in and you go to esketamine. You do a mild dose. Now, let me switch this real quick. Okay, yes, this answers the question. You're taking a mild dose. To give you an example, 1 gram of ketamine will knock out a horse. Yeah, that's what they use to sedate a horse. Now, people do this recreationally, and they can do like 3 to 5 grams of this. Not healthy at all. Not healthy in the least bit. It's going to ruin your bladder. People just have horror stories that have been doing that for years, and they just can't stop, or they don't want to stop, but still they're having these issues where they have blood coming from them. But they still will take this devastatingly amount of ketamine. So to give you an idea of that, 1 gram gets a horse knocked out. Esketamine was birthed from ketamine. Esketamine is part of ketamine. It is, as I told you, it's used as an anesthetic. An anesthesia that has been used for surgeries, and it's already been used to help treatment drug-resistant depression. So esketamine, being a part of ketamine, it's the part that's supposed to, that is believed to be the most potent aspect of it. So the thinking in that is that with using this most potent aspect of it, you won't need to take as much of it to get the same effects, and you won't have the same side effects as many, ideally. So that's the thinking there. It's as a nasal spray, FDA approved, now therapy for treatment-resistant depression. That's what I used. It was a nasal spray. Wait 5 minutes. Then you start to feel something. First thing you notice is this horrible taste in the back of your throat. Bring some juice with you, or a lozenge. That's the first thing you notice. And then by the time the 5 minutes pass and you start with the second, 1 each nostril, and you go to the inner side of the nostril, you were feeling already an altered state. It didn't take long. Now, when you're doing this, it takes 45 minutes to get to the exact peak where you're going. And then it's back down, and you're in a cozy place at the end. During these sessions were my only relief and release during the entire 2-month treatments that I went through. The rest of the times I was just completely exhausted. I just slept all the time. I had chills and sweats at the same time, bone-chilling sweats. You can think about that, bone-chilling and then sweats. They don't quite match up together, but that's what I had. And it was very uncomfortable. Yes?
Was this through a clinic or were
Good question. It was through a clinic. It was through a clinic.
Okay.
Yes, it was through a clinic by a trained professional.
Okay.
They were certified in doing this, and they would first check your blood pressure when you show up, and then they check your blood pressure at the 45-minute mark because it makes your blood pressure spike. And then they check it again at the end to make sure that you're okay to go home. You stay there for 2 hours.
The whole experience is in office?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's supervised. Now for me, that meant just what,
Did you say how long the duration was of the treatment? Did I miss that?
2 hours.
No. How long were you going to be when they talked to you and they said, we want to treat you for this amount of time? What did they specify
A year,
that?
year and a half.
No, you
Did they
said 2
specify
months.
that?
You said 2 months?
When you went to them and said, they said, we're going to treat you with ketamine, what was their time frame? It'll take you how long?
Oh, they didn't give me that because they didn't know.
You didn't have a treatment plan?
The treatment plan was 4 weeks of twice a week.
Okay.
After that, it was once a week. For as long as you needed.
I see.
Once I got to a certain point, I didn't need it anymore. I didn't want it anymore. I had it.
It didn't fit.
No, I didn't want my reality to change anymore. I didn't want to lose my footing on everything. I was just grasping things that are just wonderful now. It wouldn't benefit me any further to do that after doing it where I was at that point.
A healthy place.
Yes.
Healthier.
A very healthy place. A place of love, a place of peace, a place of joy. All these things that I had never really felt to the fullest extent. Yes.
Are you still working with that clinic, or what kind of support are you, because you're saying you're still using you're still benefiting from those experiences. Are you doing that on your own or with other support?
I do that with breathing, meditation, yoga, positive self-affirmations. Brother Matthew will give you several if you want some. He gave me several when I was going through it. Going in with an intention each time, each session, with an intention to learn how to get through what you learned that week. Because each week, I'll get to you in just one moment, each week you learn something new about yourself, at least 1 or 2 or 3 things that just are traumatic, that just, they hit you like a ton of bricks. And they hit me like a ton of bricks, and I didn't know what to do. And I was just in bed, crying all the time, curled up with my heating pad and covers, and just waiting.
Other therapeutic support during this time?
I was in touch with my prescriber and with my person that was doing it. Yes. And they told me that it was normal. I don't think they knew the extremity that I was going through it, but they told me it was normal, like in about 3 weeks it would end, and I'd be, a little better off. Well, 3 weeks came, and I was a little worse off, because everything was getting deeper and deeper, because I went into this, I was going to get better. I had tried so many other things. I had to get better. It was my last ditch effort. I went into this out of desperation. And it did it. It did it. And what was your question?
You said that you had, while under the experiences during that duration, you had trouble sleeping, these cold sweats that you were having as well. Did you ever suffer that previously before you started the treatment?
No.
Have you suffered it since?
No.
Okay.
Good question. Very good question. But no. And before I did not have them. After, maybe, I retract that statement. Maybe for the last month after I had those. Because I kept my diary for 90 days for that purpose. To record exactly what was going on, thought, body, every aspect of the experience. But yes, it went on a little bit longer, but it was mostly during the duration and the real depths of it. Good question. Good question.
The clinic didn't provide a therapeutic component along with the treatment itself. They just had somebody holding space for you and being there with you to monitor you physically. Is that correct?
Well, they had
Or did they
the
have some
door
other support?
cracked. They had the door cracked. I was sitting on the floor because I love the floor. I was sitting on the floor.
You
And
weren't lay down?
What's that?
You didn't lay down?
I had the option to. You could lay down, you could bring a sleep mask if you want, you can do all that stuff, but I just love sitting on the floor.
I
and
think
just
the question was
listening
like if you had any mental health support, psychologists or psychiatrists following you.
Trying to
Yes.
get a sense of the actual experience as well.
to music. Yes, yes,
Especially since you have some, what I would consider, serious diagnoses.
Yes.
Did they, were you under the care of a psychiatrist at the time
yes,
as well?
yes.
Yeah,
I had him
Somebody
on
had to
my
give you
phone.
somebody had to give you the drug-resistant depression
Yes.
diagnosis.
Yes.
That doesn't come easy because you have to go try all the
Oh,
other
I
things.
went through so many ever since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
so,
someone on your phone for the duration of your session?
Yeah, I still have them on my phone.
You had a sitter on video.
You know, I had a sitter. I was at the clinic.
Okay, but.
The prescriber was there, and so was somebody else, like the nurse that was up front.
Oh, but they weren't watching you the entire time?
They
were
weren't
just-
watching me.
Okay.
They kept the door open,
Okay,
and if I needed anything, I could poke my head out.
gotcha.
When you're on esketamine, it's not that easy to just go over and walk up. You're all wobbly, and you're up here, man. You're not in your body. So yes, esketamine. Esketamine is incredible. It turned my life around. My experience through esketamine therapy. I don't know why these pictures aren't showing up, but there's some lines. Use your imagination. There's a picture there too.
It's trippy, it's pretty, I like what he's telling me.
Well, thank you. I'm going to read to you a couple,
Do you need more
3.
light?
What's that?
do you need light to read? Are you okay?
It's lit up.
Oh, great, okay.
Yes.
Not a book.
Y'all are in luck. I am going to read to you 3 different individual sessions that I went into this treatment. As I said, I recorded in my diary every single thing that happened to me, every thought, every emotion, every feeling, every sensation, every revelation, insight, connection, because I had all those going on too. My
Sorry to keep
brain was
interrupting
electric.
you. Was this a condition of there, or did you come up with this out of your idea that you were going to journal to this extent?
It was my idea. It was my idea to keep the journal because I wanted to know what was happening to me.
Yeah.
I know my memory's not good, so I knew that I was going to remember much stuff. I wanted to remember everything from this, and I'm glad I did because from those notes, I have so many insights, connections, revelations that have come together, pieced together in my life. They have helped to become a map for me. My book is not just a book I'm selling to people or offering to people. It's my map. It's how I live. I still am assimilating and really striving to live that way. Now that I know those insights and those revelations, and they're in a certain order that just flows, and it's just amazing. Again, it's my map of life now. Now that I'm living in a world that I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I have an idea about what's going on, but I mean, I just don't have that extra stuff going on. Okay, so as far as the notes inside the treatments, Interphase 1, the hungry caterpillar. It is out of hope and desperation that I dive headfirst into this esketamine treatment. Nothing prepared me for the journey to that freedom, not a thing. Every journey will be very individualized experience. It will. This was very personal to me. I think that if you do it, it's going to be very personal to you, your own issues, what you're looking to get out of it. I'm going to tell you now, when you go into it with an intention. Go into it knowing how to breathe. Go into it with the intention of learning and letting go. The intention of seeing what it is that there is to see that you aren't seeing at that time. And it does come to you. It may not be during that session, but it'll shown to you. It'll be shown to you. It'll hit your head several times in different places all throughout that week. And then finally, after you've typed it so many times, you're like, okay, that's what it is. That's what I got to do. So, before the treatment, I went through extreme withdrawal due to having to cease 5 of the 8 medications I had been taking for a very long time for my extreme depression and debilitating anxiety, along with at least 2 antipsychotics. I had to cease them all at once before a certain amount of time before sessions could begin, and those weeks were torture. Yeah, they were bad. Treatment 1. I was taken from the waiting room to a room with a couch and 2 chairs. This is my space for the next 2 hours. The esketamine was administered as a nasal spray, used twice each nostril, 5 minutes apart. Break for a moment. Remember when I told you about the horse and ketamine and being knocked out by just 1 gram? I was taking a esketamine During the 2-week applications, I was taking 84 milligrams, and then once a week it was the same thing. Maybe a little bit higher now that I think about it. For the second, when it was just once a week. But milligrams compared to a gram, so it's nothing like you're not going to trip. You're not going to see psychedelics. Some people do. Like I said, it's going to be very individualized. Okay, I will continue. There's a distinctive taste, which leaves one desiring a beverage immediately after. The flavor starts in the nose and moves through the throat, and taste becomes a predominant flavor. I should start feeling something soon. It varies individually and is felt slightly after the first application of the spray. Okay, I feel it in my throat nose, and now weirdly like a spacious bubble. Wow, I'm pioneering with my own headspace. The bubble-like spaciousness that began opening within my throat is starting to spread throughout my body. I am an astronaut exploring my brain's terrain. I feel a stronger sense of bubble all over. I'm a brain astronaut. Okay, it's kicked in. Time to settle in and see what this feels like. Yes, it is good. I feel a lightness and an almost out of body while being in body sense. All that comes to mind to describe it are the peak season sky, a sky full of pink summer Floridian fluffy clouds. Time to put some music on and dive throughout the sounds. My cow music has texture. That's what creates the vibes. I'm currently listening to Herbs. Herbs are a fake soundtrack by a fake band for a fake movie. But they're great. I love their album. Yes, great stuff, truly. I love this album. While listening to the music, I feel the texture and sound. It is like I'm tuned into the sound waves of the room, and each note has a different and certain texture to it. It feels and sounds and so good. Oh, how I do love music. I discovered quickly this session that music without words is the best way to go. This way, the words won't snag me out of the experience. My anxiety is left. My depression feels suspended, and I swim towards a sense of buoyancy and light. Yes, I'm sitting on the floor in a room of comfy-looking furniture, but I feel better on the ground. I have always preferred it that way, given my own option. Everything's heightened in the sensory experience. It's now halfway through the time to spend in this room. It has been an hour. Just got my vitals checked. Everything is good so far. Physically, I feel great, very relaxed. Emotionally and mentally, I feel what I'd imagine the feeling of Zen to be like. Very copacetic, cozy, cushy, a happy observer. I'm in the midst of a fuzzy, ethereal blanket everywhere that seals in the tranquility that fills my being and all of my surrounding space. I feel so much relief. The depression and anxiety are floating away, lifting from my energetic being and morphing into calm bliss. It is almost time to leave. My vitals are checked again and all is good. The relief is still present and I feel calm within and relaxed. I am loopy, but a good loopy. It's time to find my way out. So that was the first experience that I had in Esketamine. I was sitting on the floor. I had my instrumental music playing. The door was cracked ajar just a little bit. I recommend having the lights turned off when you're doing this because you get really sensitive to the light when you go through this. And I actually felt this bubble-like sensation start in my throat. It started in my throat and then it moved up and it moved down and out and over until my entire body just feels very buoyant. If you can imagine yourself in like a bubble wrap ball, just very buoyant. I didn't feel heavy. I didn't feel any depression or anxiety. That I actually felt bubble up and kind of stream out of me. And I could feel it just hover over me. And that's what I mean by the first veil being lifted. I actually felt peace and calm. I actually felt not depressed. And that was a big shock to me. actually feeling that way. I'm going to read to you one that I actually contacted my parents during, because they have been so supportive this whole time. They didn't know what I was going through. I couldn't explain everything. They knew I had a hard time as a teenager. They were there. They have tried everything that they could in their power to help me. But really, in the situation I was in, it was, I don't know what they could have done. Yes?
Not to detract from what you're saying, but did you ever have substance abuse issues that tried to sway you into a different lifestyle?
Well, what I did was I self-medicated. I tried substances to escape what I was going through, and it didn't work well either.
But you were able to recognize that and not go down the path of some people that are
No,
addiction.
I didn't get substance
So addiction
abuse.
was never really an issue with that.
No, not
So
with that.
if someone has past history of addiction, would that probably stand in the way of the ketamine therapy?
I don't think so. If you talk to your psychiatrist or your
Right.
whoever's prescribing, they should know if you are the right candidate for that
Right.
or not. Because
Yeah.
they do a thorough examination of if you would need that or if you
Right.
qualify for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and then I've got today I feel panicky, anxious, and tired. Treatment 8. This is the last week now of 2 weeks a week, 2 times a week. Starting this upcoming Monday, I will have treatments once a week. 2 sprays in the nostrils, 5 minutes apart. Juice for the taste, apple today. Today's music choice, Art Mooney, a grand upbeat cha-cha-cha vibe. It's coasting in effect now. Anxieties, depression, nervousness lived above me. No longer attached to my being, no longer attached to me. It is just me and the surrounding peace-inducing vibratory space. I sit in the room with only myself, furniture, and music. The music permeates my very being at an energetic level. Good stuff, Art Mooney. I never sought him out before, but cow, this is awesome. Great vibes. Vitals are checked again, in a good range. My body is not as relaxed as my head. I can feel things happening in my brain, changing, shifting. I've been feeling it since treatment started. It really feels like it's helping already. That is a relief. Little side note there. I can feel things happening already. And you probably have questions about that. My brain was electric. It was like static. It had like lightning. It was just constantly buzzing. I couldn't get it to stop. It was always buzzing with ideas, concepts, revelations, trauma, all kinds of different things, that played into play of healing. It never let me rest. So even when I rest, it didn't let me rest because it was still there going on. Even when I was sleeping, very vivid dreams. Very vivid dreams. Yes?
Is this session 4 now?
Huh?
Are you reading from session 4 now? Oh, according to the paper, I'm following.
I don't know.
Your tablet, where are you reading? What
Oh.
session are you on?
Oh, I skipped session 4. We're on session 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Would you say that this would be act like an enzymic chemical an enzyme that changes?
It changes, it reroutes the way that your brain waves work. It
Right.
changes the pattern.
Right.
So you're no longer using those destructive patterns that you were using. It's no
Similar
longer
to
stuck. It's like
an
a
enzyme,
reset.
yeah.
A reset, I guess, is what I would call it, because you're left with okay, where am I now? Okay, so here we go. We were listening to Art Mooney. My body is not as relaxed as my head. I can feel things happening in my brain changing and shifting. I've been feeling it since treatment started. It really feels like it's helping already. That is a relief. I hadn't seen any changes in my head with any of the medications I was on the onset of my afflictions. I've been seeking solace for most of my remembered life. I have never been free of the screaming voices that I hear or horrific things that I see. I so often seen them, and they seem to intensify and vary on my depression and anxiety levels, yet ever present. But this is knocking them out. I am elated and cautious. They have over the course of the treatment been stripped from me. They are gone. This is something medication never has done. I text my mom and dad about what is happening to me during the peak moments of this particular session. So here I was at the peak moments, say 45 minutes in, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I've got to let my parents know what's going on. So I did. And their response, my dad sent a huge smiley face, the biggest smile emoji you could find ever. And he sent that texted that to me. My mom sent in all caps, sounds euphoric, followed with an emoji of her blowing me a heart-shaped kiss. So there they are, very supportive, very encouraging. That's something you need when you're going through this kind of experience, is a strong support system. You were asking about physicians and stuff like that. A strong support system includes that, along with either family members or friends, both. You're going to need support.
So they have what's called trip sitters. They didn't offer that to you for that 2 hours you were alone.
Well, no.
Open.
The door was open.
Yes, okay, so,
Yeah, the door was open. And the person that could have helped me was right out there, so all I'd have to do is just poke my head out.
now,
even if I
when
had
you
to
were
crawl.
working with your psychologist or mental health practitioner, were they open and you had discussion with them what you could do and focus on when you go to the treatment?
No, I did this all on my own.
Okay.
And I came up with how to do this on my own because I knew what I needed to do in a strange way. I kind of been preparing for this my whole life without realizing it. I've read so many self-help books, so many psychology books, a lot of philosophical books and doctrine books and stuff like that. Just trying to grasp what's going on, and I thought I knew at times, yeah, that's what that means. I didn't really know what certain things like peace, loving yourself, I thought I knew what that was, but
It's not a thought.
Yeah.
It's not actually a thought.
No.
It's an experience.
It is an experience.
So, when you're in the experience, you're not in a verbal state, right? So did you have support if you wanted to process what had come up in the sessions aside from your journal? That you had access to a therapist if you wanted one?
Yes.
And other support systems? in
Yes.
place, it sounds like.
My psychiatrist would always be there.
Yeah.
He was the one that was there when I'd administer it, so if I had any issues, I had him on my phone.
But they're just medical doctors. I'm saying like
Yes.
somebody to process the traumas that were coming up that you were working through.
Oh, okay,
I'm
yes.
talking about the psychological and energetic processing. Like obviously when you were sweating, you were processing trauma out of your body.
Yes.
Like the sleeping and the sweating and the shaking, that was all trauma release,
It was.
right? So did you have support on the psychological, emotional, trauma healing? Or just
From
the
other
journal?
people?
Yeah, if you needed it, was it available to you?
Yes. If I needed it,
It
I could
sounds like
have
you
it.
did it on your own, which is also incredible and wonderful. But I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to know if you, thank you.
Some-
That you had that available as a resource if you wanted it.
I did. Now, this was fairly new to this clinic. I was one of the first people that did it. So I was kind of a guinea pig there, too. So they were kind of like watching me, telling me, well, I think this is what's supposed to happen. Yes, this is what's supposed to happen. And so a lot of it I did myself because I realized they don't know what they're doing. So
Hopefully you got a better price.
yeah, I know, right? They know what they're doing, but they hadn't done it themselves, so they didn't know what was going to happen. They couldn't tell me that I was going to go through this stuff. They couldn't warn me about all these things I was going to find out in my past childhood or mid-hood and whatever hood I'm in now. There's no way that yeah. So, this was just groundbreaking, esketamine. So my parents have been super supportive. Now I'm listening to the music, allowing it to fill the room space as I continue breathing slow and controlled, letting tension go and slip away from me. I bask in this peace-filled, warm glow. And I felt that often. So I know it's there. I felt, let me change the slide. I had felt things that, oh yeah, okay, I talked about that. Thoughts, emotions, mania, exhaustion, yep. Do you have any questions about this slide? I think I covered everything on it.
No, it's just.
Okay.
You said you were going to play some other songs. Are we going to have time to hear all that?
Oh
I
yeah,
really
sure.
enjoyed it.
Here's a music song right here, and this
Okay,
is a
great.
story
Thank
song.
I liked it.
Thank you. This is a story song. This song is actually a story of my life. Good, bad, and the ugly. And I'll tell you a little bit about it first, and then I'll tell you about it as I'm going through it. Because there is a space between each verse for me to tell you, hey, this is what's going on. So, I was younger.
Weren't we all?
I know, at one time I was younger. Believe it or not, it happened. As I said, I've been hearing and seeing things my whole life. When I was younger, there were different things that I saw and heard, but they were all very negative. And, you know, it was just horrible. In my teenage years, I was institutionalized. It got so bad. And then in the end of the song, I'm me now. Here we go. This is called Deep Within. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've been around, been beat up and put down. I didn't know of my own destructive ways. I went to a church for my search. I had my own way that I like to pray. I had to wake up and realize that this was not life that I was living. That love could not be found in those extorted lives. I had to find it myself, deep within. It's the middle me now. Spent time in a padded room filled with psychotic gloom. Nobody seemed to know just what to do with me. Found comfort in my own skin. Found myself my only friend. Now I can finally say I'm who I'm meant to be. I had to wake up and realize that this was not life that I was living. That love could not be found in those external lives. I had to find it myself, deep within. This is me now. Coming up. Yeah, I've been around, been beat up and put down, till I came to know my own destructive ways. Life now is my church, with an ever-loving search, and I still have my own way that I like to pray. I had to wake up and realize that this was not life that I was living. That love could not be found in those external lives. I had to find it myself, deep within. Deep within. Thank you very much. And that is the story, in a nutshell, of what I've been through. And it hasn't been easy, I'll tell you that. It hasn't been easy. It still isn't always easy. You know, I don't have those voices, thank goodness. I'm going to touch wood. I don't. Where's wood?
Guitar.
Good, thank you. Right, you know, it's amazing. The state of mind I'm in now, the things I can feel and sense now, and I mean, it's just incredible. I'm still in awe, and it's been, I guess, 7 months now since the last treatment.
Thank you for coming in. It was really awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. I just want to tell you real quick a couple things before we wrap up. Support, we did cover that. It's so important. You need a strong support system because you're going to relive potentially past trauma that you had no idea you were going through. This is tough for everybody. Tough for your partner, tough for your family, tough for your kids, tough to your mom, dad, everybody. So take this into account. It affects everybody. But having a strong support system, people who love you and care for you, they're going to be there for you even though it's difficult. They're going to stay by you, and you need that. Mania, I talked about mania. I think I read about mania. Music, this is the last song here, and then we'll do breath work. So I will tell you, affect me. I learned, do any of you guys know about the domino effect, or an idea about what the domino effect means?
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got, let's imagine that we're all dominoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all dominoes, some with one spot, some with 6. And we have the opportunity to stand together or knock another person down. Through words, through thought, through just a gesture or a look. You're impacting that person's day, one way or another. Everybody that you come in contact with. That's something I realized and came in contact with because thoughts and feelings they hurt. Even good ones, the sensations were just too heightened. So like whenever a negativity came towards me, it hurt like the dickens. And I could feel it intensely, to the core of me. So this song is called Affect Me. It involves conscious thinking, conscious discernment, conscious movement, and conscious communication. All things that are covered in my book, Picking Up The Breadcrumbs. But it's what we've been talking about, thinking about things consciously. That includes self-talk and how you're going to present things to other people. Conscious discernment, what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, if you're going to say it. Conscious movement, move slow, move fast, go whatever you need to go in the moment, but listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Move slow. I find it's a lot easier now to move slower, because I used to zoom, 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 because I was in a manic mess. But I've learned if I breathe and consciously move slower, I can get things done without messing up. A lot easier. Conscious communication. That's exactly what I'm talking about, the domino effect. So here this song is.
Could you use intentional interchangeably?
Oh, yes, yes. Whatever your intention is, you can have any kind of intention, and it can be interchangeable with consciousness, yes. Okay. Last song and then breath work. Today is your day. Today is your day. Today is your day to be yourself and say only what's good for you and what you say and be. Only what you say and do affects me. Today is your day. Today is your day. Today is your day to be yourself and say only what's good for you and what you say and be. Everything that you say and do affects me. So that's affect me. Thank you. And I want to close this afternoon session with just quick breath work because I know if I have time to do it.
Well, I don't know if people might need to leave at 3, but.
Okay.
Is there a commitment to the conference room after this?
We have it for another half hour, so we're good. But I'd say if anybody wants to stay and experience this, they can, but if you need to leave at 3, I know some people already have had to leave.
Yes.
But if you want to stay, you can stay.
Okay. We'll move on then. Does it work through? Let's see here. Okay. Yes. Here we are with breath. gonna do. And this one isn't showing the picture with it either. I'm sorry. I had some cool graphics and everything. I was
It's
so
got the little
excited.
icon for the picture.
I know,
with the
right?
date
It's all
right in the
swallowed
middle,
up into
almost
there.
like
Just imagine, it's really great. The first one that I've discovered, it's kind of like a mantra. Kind of like something you repeat over and over inside your head or out loud. But if you would just close your eyes for a moment, put your hands on your belly, and feel the subtle rise and fall of your belly with each breath, each inhalation and exhalation. Without trying to control it, just feel your breath moving through your body. Okay, now inhale peace through the nose, exhale love through the nose. Inhale peace, exhale love. And while your hands are still on your belly, continue this. Inhale peace. Feel that glorious rise. Exhale love. Inhale love. Exhale peace. And that is one of them that you can do as long as you want or as short as you want. You can do it anywhere. You don't have to put your hands on your belly. I just did that for effect so you can connect to your breath and actually see, oh yeah, this is going on without me thinking about it. Yes. This next one is more of a controlled technique. I learned this one through my yoga teacher training courses. I'm a certified yoga instructor as well. This breath work, you inhale, well first you'll do a deep cleansing breath in, deep cleansing breath out. And then we'll go in through the nose to the count of 4. Hold then for the count of 4. And then exhale to the count of 8. All through the nose. Okay? So deep cleansing breath in. Cleansing breath out. All the way out. Let it go. Okay, and inhale through the nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe normally. Bring your hands to your belly once more. With your eyes closed, feel that beautiful rise and fall of the belly with each breath. With this breathing sequence, you can instantly bring peace to your body and your mind. Because you're focusing on your mind. You're focusing on your breath. Your breath is a continuous cycle. It sustains your life. It's something you should welcome in your life and assimilate and integrate. These are the yoga breaths that I've learned. There's so many different breathing techniques. You can Google prana or just breathing techniques, breath work. You're gonna find all kinds of stuff for it. And I even have apps on my phone. There's apps for breathing. And you just instantly press on them and they'll, like, some of them have like this glowing orb. They'll get bigger when you inhale, then when you exhale it gets smaller. Yeah, I got those. And that's pretty neat because you just focus on that and you inhale slow and then exhale slow. So that can help teach you and train you to be able to do it on your own if you aren't able to focus on your own to get there. Now I'll open this up to any questions for anything. Yes?
You said did you say your initial dose was 84 milligrams?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And is that total, like 22, and then 22, and then 22, and then 22, like, or whatever the
Yes,
math
it
is?
goes
I'm not
either
doing
side,
that.
yes.
21, I guess.
Yeah, it goes either side.
Right,
Um,
so 21 is each spray, and then 84 total?
Yes, well, wait a minute. Okay, back up earlier. Rewind. The first 4 weeks that I was doing 2 treatments a week, it was 54 milligrams each one.
Each spray or each treatment? as
Each
a whole?
treatment.
Well, that's not very much.
No, that's why I'd go twice a week,
I guess
but it was
that's
enough.
better.
And then every once a week it was 84.
So did they gradually work you up to
Yes.
a certain dose?
Yes, and
It's
that's
not something you go in and automatically get.
yeah.
So
you're
is
not
there a
funny.
standard they start with, that like, start everybody at 0.25 or something?
Perhaps. I think that it's probably the prescriber who decides what doses you start with and how long you do it. It's also affected.
Individual as well,
It is very individual.
Yeah.
Everything about this experience has been individual,
and therefore very personal.
very personal. Yes, and
So
I
trust
will-
has to be a good factor in the support.
Absolutely, you need that, and you need to have that openness to speak to people about these things. If you don't have that openness, then do like I did and write it in a journal. I'll tell you the name of my journal. It's really horrible. Diarrheum. Isn't that horrible? I gotta write in my diarrheum today.
Better out than in.
Yeah, better out than in, I say.
Get it
But
out.
yeah, that's a great journal app. It's just the name is horrendous. Why they named it that? It's probably just to make people laugh at you.
Or if someone's on a rant, it can appear to be
Yeah.
diarrhea-like, you know?
It's harder to forget.
Yeah, it is hard to forget. Once you hear it, you're like, okay, I gotta search this. That can't be real. But yes, it is. Any other questions today? Did everybody get a bookmark? Oh, you gotta get a bookmark. Anybody else not get a bookmark?
I'd love a bookmark. Thank you for coming in, Amy. It was really good to hear you talk.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me
I
here.
did have a question. Was it covered under your insurance at all, or did you pay out of pocket?
It was covered under my insurance.
Because of the treatment-resistant depression?
Yes,
And because it was through a psychiatrist?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was, I gave you guys bookmarks, right?
And did you do it in
Oh, I
Maryland or out of area? Like in this region you did it, or?
I did it in Hampton Roads area.
I don't know where that is.
Okay.
Virginia.